Hello, book lovers. Welcome to Must Love Books. Hello, and welcome back to Must Love Books podcast. Today, I am here with Emma C. Wells, author of This Girl's a Killer. Hello, Emma. How are you?
Hi, I'm so happy to be here actually to talk about the book. I'm
I'm
so glad we could make
so
this
happy to
happen.
have you. So happy. I recently saw your post on Instagram about the giant Barbie box style promo you were doing. That was so clever and adorable. I
Thank
love
you
that.
so much. Well, that actually came about because a million years ago when I wrote the first draft of this book, and it's changed a lot, but I feel like its core is still the same. My main character is still the same. Some plot points have shifted. But when I wrote like an early draft and I had friends reading it, and this was like before the Barbie movie was a thing. Because that's how long it takes sometimes. Someone gave me feedback and they were like, I mean this in the best possible way, but Cordelia Black with like her hair and like her clothes and everything reminds me of serial killer Barbie. And I was like, I kind of love that. And it kind of like just stayed in the back of my head. So I was coming back from a writing retreat and I had like this long layover in the airport and I didn't really have anything else to do. And your mind just kind of wanders. And I came up with the idea. I came back to that for whatever reason. Who knows why the brain does what it does. And I was like, I'm going to make a serial killer Barbie box and it's going to look like my book cover and I'm going to bring it to book signings and I'm going to bring it to conventions. And so I emailed my publicist and she was like, I love this idea. And then I had BoucherCon this past month, which is like the World Mystery Thriller Convention, and it's in a different city every year. And I had never been. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know it was going to be in this giant ass hotel that I was going to have to haul this 7-foot Barbie box. So anyway, long story, a little bit shorter. I finally decided to make it. I got my spouse on board, and he is like, I was just gonna throw it together, to be honest with you. Like, I'm very much an idea person, and let's just make it look good. But he is very much a numbers guy and measure it twice, cut it once. So by the time we were done, this was like a legitimate, gigantic, like almost 7-foot tall Barbie box. And it collapsed flat and it was very lightweight, but it was very cumbersome. And shout out to my friend Jules on the books on Instagram, who went to this convention with me, because I could have never in a million years like got it to where it needed to be without her. It was us just toting this monstrosity. And if you want to see it, it's on my Instagram, emma.c.wells.books, through this super crowded, like Gaylord Opry Hotel in Nashville. I mean, it's like this hotel is like 8 acres. I kid you not. It is like a terrarium on the
Wow.
inside. Yeah, and I parked in the wrong place. And so we're like, look like I Love Lucy, like Lucy and Ethel. I don't know if you've ever watched that. And so like it wouldn't fit on the elevator. We had to go up the stairwell. And so the thing about BoucherCon that's really cool is it kind of skews older. Like you have a lot of like I notice older women there that have been fans of the genre for a long time. And they are the best because they're along the way, like these grandmas were just like, can we help you girls? And we're like, yes, get the door, please. And so we finally got it set up and it was totally worth it, I think. I'm definitely going to rethink bringing it to every single event though, because it was gigantic, but it does fit. I mean, it makes sense. It has Cordelia's silhouette. Cordelia is the main character of my book. She's a serial killer who takes out really bad men. I probably should have started with that, but she's
Oh,
a
we'll get
serial
into
killer
that.
who kills predators. She's in the back. It says, this girl's a killer. You can pose. You look like a killer doll in a box, and it's amazing. I love it.
So you describe This Girl's a Killer as Legally Blonde grows up and gets a murderous Dexter alter ego.
So I have to really send a shout out to my publicist for that amazing tagline.
It's
uh,
incredible.
yeah. So when I pitched the book originally, first to get a literary agent, because this is my debut, and this is the book that I signed with my literary agent with. I pitched it as Elle Woods meets Dexter Morgan, and it did go through some rewrites, again, plot wise. So I feel like some of the Elle Woods characteristics maybe aren't there as much, but she is very Cordelia. It was important to me to create someone who didn't have like, I feel like and it says this in the book, like when you say like a woman is a badass, it's like you're only allowed a very specific way to be a badass. And not that I don't love those characters, I do, but I just wanted her on the outside to be kind of just this normal woman, like a go-getter, like definitely a very strong personality type, but somebody you might see at brunch or you might have in your book club or wherever. And so she is this fashion loving, blonde, on top of things, type A, like do everything to the fullest woman who also just happens to be a serial killer, who also happens to just really enjoy it, be kind of good at it for most part anyway.
So let's talk about the plot. How would you describe this story for any of our listeners who haven't picked up a copy yet?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I think a really good book is when you start out with one character and by the end of the story they have just gone through this like change, and it can be like their personality, their physical surroundings, like they've just gone on a journey, right? That is the plot, is the character's journey. Cordelia's is coming to terms, I think, with who she is versus who she thinks she is. Like she thinks she has it together. She has like everything tied up in a neat bow in her personal life, in her like social life, in her private life, which is, killing people more than dating. Like she thinks she has everything in control. Nothing can get away from her. She won't let it get away from her. And slowly we see how things kind of spiral, and she has to figure out how to hold it together, figure out who she is, and be okay with all of that. Um, at its core, I would say the story is a thriller. It definitely has the window dressings of a thriller, but it is about friendship. I always laugh that it's a thriller first, but right after that, it's a buddy comedy, because there's banter, there's ride or die friendships, and I think it's about the lengths you would go for your best friend, for your ride or die, and for Cordelia Black, for her ride or die, she'll kill, like literally, for the people she loves. Um, so plot wise, yeah. I think
So
that's it.
with Cordelia Black, when she says ride or die, she means you ride with me and other people will die.
Right, she's not dying and you're not dying, but a lot of other people might. But I mean, she has, and that's another thing. She has this code that she follows. It's very specific. She gets kind of infuriated when plot point in the book is the news have kind of noticed that these people have gone missing, and they're like, we might have another serial killer in our city. Um, and this kind of like ruffles her feathers because she does not see herself as a serial killer. She's like, I'm not out here randomly killing people. The people I kill, the men that I kill, deserve it. Without a shadow of a doubt, I am doing it. She believes she is doing the city a favor, making the world a better place, just like one visit to her kill room at a time. So yeah, lots of die in the ride or die, but not the people she loves. And so one big plot point in the book is her best friend Diane, who she has known since college. Really, the only family Cordelia has is like her found family. She's not too interested in romantic relationships, but this is her person, right? Diane is her world. Diane's daughter is her goddaughter. Like she will do anything for these people. And Diane is the complete opposite of Cordelia. She is happy go lucky. Like me, she has ADHD. She's just kind of bopping through life. She's good at her job. She is an optimist. She sees the best in people, and like she will see a red flag and run like right for it. Like she thinks the circus is in town. So she starts dating this guy that rubs Cordelia the wrong way, but she can't exactly. She kind of gaslights herself into thinking, is there something really wrong with this guy, or am I just jealous? And that's kind of where she's at. And the more she gets to know him, she starts to think, well, maybe my spidey sense is tingling for a reason. And then, like, what do? Do you kill your best friend's boyfriend? Like, things kind of spiral from there.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that. I did get my art copy and I did start it, but I don't like finishing books before an interview so that I don't like slip and give something spoilery.
You
But so
totally.
from what I have started, it is witty and honestly, I really love this story so far.
I appreciate that so much. And like, it's so weird for me to talk about it like this, right? Because it's my book. I can tell you what I love about other people's books all the time, but talking about my own book, but I really like, I am a reader who is a mood reader. I love my genre. I love thrillers. I love horror. I also love like romance. I love book club books. And I really love good, like snappy dialogue and banter and like that sardonic, like dry humor. So I tried to make sure there was plenty of that because those are the things that I love in the book, but still fit like the genre norms for it to be a thriller.
Yes, for sure. And I really love when books kind of take genre norms and tropes normally found in the genre and kind of flip them on their head a little bit and approach things in a new way. And I think that's something that you really excelled with This Girl's a Killer.
Thank you so much. I wanted to give us a serial killer that you would want to be friends with because I feel like, and I love these books, don't get me wrong, but like we see typically like in thrillers, there's two parts. There's like the big baddie that's like preying on women or whoever they have in their crosshairs, and like no shade to those books. I read everything, or we get a lot of like if we get women who kill, they have to be a very certain specific character type. And I kind of wanted to say, and look, I'm not the first person to do this. There are definitely other books out there that are. I feel like there's not as many, and I knew that was kind of what I wanted to create. I wanted to make a character that was like, I'm not your final girl. I wear heels and I have my hair done, but screw you if you think I can't do the hard things, you know. And I wanted to show friendship. Let's be honest though, like it's always funny when people are like, and this is no shade. I love my readers and I love that people say this, but when they're like, I would love to have a best friend like Cordelia Black, I'm like, would you
Would you
though?
like
Because she
really?
knows everything about Diane, and Diane knows nothing about her. Like it's kind of toxic. She has very good intentions, but in real life, it would not translate.
Yeah, these are the relationships that are best served in fiction.
Exactly, exactly. Like there's a lot of that, those conversations in like the romance genre world. Like just because we like it in a book doesn't mean we want it in real life.
Yeah,
And
especially with dark romance.
right, right. So funny story. The very early version of this book, before I kind of like pulled it over into thriller, it had a lot more romance in it. It had some spicy scenes, and but the problem was the plot was a thriller plot. It wasn't a dark romance plot. So I had to decide, do I want this to be a dark romance and I want to like mold it in that direction, or do I um want it to be a thriller? And as an author, you kind of have to think like not just what this book is, but like what other stories do you have in you? Like because your readers, if you build a relationship with your readers, you want to keep that trust and not jump to something else. Not that you can't write other genres, but and as much as I love romance, I didn't think I had another romance story in me. But I was like, I know lots of twisted, unhinged thriller tales living in my head. So I don't know what that says about me as a person, but that's where we went.
It says that you are interesting and fun. That's what it
Thank you.
says.
I'll take it. Thank you so much.
So let's talk a little bit about what your writing process has been like for This Girl's a Killer.
Dude, chaos. Um, so it started with this is the first, honestly, the first thriller that I've written. Before this, I had written some contemporary fantasy that lives on my computer now. I had written a women's fiction book that I actually wrote, got pretty far with it, but it never took off. So that is on living on my hard drive now or whatever in a file on the cloud, I guess. I don't know. I don't know computer terms. Oh my God. And I remember, not to like bore you to death, but I remember when I thought up the character, it like I had these characters right away, but it took me forever to come up with a plot for her because I just had all these scenes that I wrote by hand, all these lists of like trouble she could get into, things she could do. And I was like, all right, I have a lot, but I don't have a story. And the story kind of came slower for me with this one. But once I kind of figured it out, like I knew exactly what I wanted it to be. Um, I typically start with writing, like I have notebooks, like I have an ungodly amount of notebooks, like so many notebooks, and I have a whiteboard that my friend, like one of my friends jokes with, and she's like, it looks like you're trying to track a serial killer, like you work for the FBI, because I'll just have like notes everywhere. Um, if I try too hard to be too organized with it, it's kind of like just the curtain closes in my head and it's like, this feels like homework and that's not fun. So we're not going to do this. So I kind of have to like lean into the chaos and make the lists and the characters and write the scenes out of order. And then when it's time to get down to business, decide what makes it into the story. Never will, which is always kind of sad. Like I have enough of This Girl's a Killer, enough shenanigans that got cut from the book that it could be like its own book, except it's chaos and there's no plot. But it's just that much.
I
And you're
feel
right about not. Oh, I'm sorry. You're
no,
right
no,
about
no.
not
You
reading
go ahead.
to like not give spoilers. That is the hardest thing. Uh, to talk about the book in an interesting way without saying anything that would spoil it for people. I always have to think like, okay, can I say that? I don't know.
And that is so true. And I've had other authors on the show that have said that exact same thing as well, especially those who write in more of a thriller or horror genre. The twists and turns is what makes the story. But how do you talk about that without spoiling it and giving everything away?
Right. I feel like it's why I talk about the characters so much more than like necessary, which I'm sure like some people probably find annoying because you want to know what the book is about, but it's like I can only tell you a little bit because there's so many twists and turns and people are very sensitive to spoilers. Um and I mean, I'm not saying like you can't spoil romance, but it's more about the emotional journey and like you know where it's going to end up. So I feel like you can talk about it a lot more freely. Whereas when you get into like a mystery, like a whodunit or a thriller, or really even like a horror novel, some horror novels, you have to really kind of guard those big like midpoint twists.
Yeah, especially if it's something that is like off the cuff and really changes the whole direction of the story. And you can't like use that as part of the marketing, except like there's a
Yes.
big twist and like you're never gonna see this coming, but you can't like give any info because then if you spoil it, well, then they're gonna see it coming.
Right. So before I got my literary agent, this is the book that I signed with my agent with. That's like was probably over the pandemic at some point, and some people had like lightning in a bottle, like blown up on TikTok and gotten like these big deals. So everybody was like, okay, we're gonna start trying to do this. And I was me too. I was like, we're gonna put it out there, we're gonna see what happens. And then I found like really quickly, it's kind of hard because you have to just kind of go on vibes and like an elevator pitch because you can't give too much away or you ruin it real fast. And then it's like, what's the point of reading a thriller if you know how it ends, or reading a mystery if you know who did it, you know?
Yeah, and that is so true. And you're right about another thing is everybody wrote a book over the pandemic. Like everybody wrote a book. I wrote a book. I haven't finished it. Well, I technically
Did
finished
you?
it, but I have like 20,000 more words I need to add because I just focused on like main plots. Like there's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end. Now I have to like put
That's
in all of
okay. It's
the
damn.
development and the filler and not filler, but the additional scenes that really build up to things. But I did technically write a book over the pandemic.
But you know what? That's huge because, like, think about the amount of people that say they want to write a book and the amount of people that actually write a book. So
Yeah.
you're over halfway there. And it's really interesting because I find that you have like underwriters and you have overwriters. I'm an overwriter. I will spit out 160,000 words and then have to go back in with a scalpel and find the story and cut it out. And one of my like dear friends, EJ Winstrom, is the opposite. She's an underwriter. She's like, I got 60,000 words. I gotta get there. I'm like, girl, I got you. So like we have to like we help each other out and balance each other
That's the way to do
out.
it.
All the processes, everybody's process is so different. Um, that there's not a wrong way. But that's great. You wrote a book over the pandemic. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The first
So
one's
for
is this your first book you've written?
yes, it
The
is.
first one's the hardest. The next one will be a lot easier.
And it actually came from a fan fiction I wrote like 15 years ago.
Mhm.
And, so I started as a teenager, as a fan fiction writer, as many writers do. And my format was basically following like the episode structures of the show I was doing the fan fiction for. And that's something that even now I still haven't really been able to break away from. So that's why I am a bit more of an underwriter because, episodic length stories is kind of how I've always written. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this would make a really great episode of a show. But for a book, you need a lot more. So that's, the part where I'm at now, where like I've got my episode start to finish, it is done. Now I have to turn it into a story.
It'll get there. You just have to like let your mind run free with it. Um, I know, like, so you talk about writing when you're younger. I actually didn't write a lot when I was younger. I did write shorter things. I always wanted to write a book. I've always wanted to be a writer, but I have pretty intense ADHD. Um, treated it all when I was younger. Like I was just like raw dogging life and trying like my family moved. Like I went to like 15 different schools. Like it was just chaos. My childhood was chaos. Um, and I started so many books and could never like finish it. I had friends that did like the very early days of fan fiction before there was like anywhere to even really put it. Uh, and I always thought that was really cool, but I wasn't able to actually like finish anything until I figured out how to deal with my ADHD so that it could let me. But that I just went on a tangent about ADHD because of my ADHD.
Exactly. Like that was the most ADHD thing you could have done.
But I wanted to say, um, having your story down, even if it's the bare bones, is so huge. And you can, like, now the magic happens, right? Like, now you can decide what you want to add and what you want to take away. I rewrote this book so many times, cut out complete characters, put in the dog. Like, so yeah, like now the work starts. Um, but I don't want to say like the hard part is over, but I think your first book that you write, your first manuscript length fiction, that is the hard part, the first one, because you've just proved to yourself that you can do it. And that is huge. That is huge. Now you can do it. After you edit it first time and you get to where you need to be, that again, that's a milestone. Like you've proven to yourself that you can do it. And I feel like not that this business any easier and not that writing gets any easier, but you like kind of start believing in yourself a little bit more. And that's crucial, right? That's like, oh, I did this before, I can do this again, just got to do it. So like, yeah, congratulations.
Well, thank you. So let's go into what your publishing journey was like. You spent a lot of time working on this book. And that's something that I really just love to go into on this podcast, is to just keep transparency on the publishing industry. Because there's,
Oh
things
yeah,
that so many
totally.
authors have like different experiences. And then there are the people who are interested and want to learn how it works. So I love having everyone share what their publishing journey has been like.
Okay. Yeah, mine's pretty twisty and turny. So actually, I told you earlier I wrote like a women's fiction book. I got into this contest way back in 2017 with that book called Pitch Wars. And it's now not around anymore, but it used to be like this big thing, and met so many great people. Glad I did it because my whole writing group now I basically met in Pitch Wars. I thought, let me tell you, I thought I made it. I was like, yes, I had like the best pitch. I thought I got so many requests, so many full requests, like a ton, a ton. And then like crickets. And then like slowly those rejections started rolling in. And I held on to that book so probably longer than I should have. Well, I invested way more time in it than I should have. I should have given it time and moved on and wrote something else. But like I was all in on this book. When it finally became clear that it wasn't going anywhere, that's when I decided to write something else, and I wanted to write something completely different. And that's when I had thought up Cordelia, and I thought of the first line then of the book, which I think now has moved to like chapter 3. And I was like, this is amazing. Because here's the thing about me is I'm delusional about my ability. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. And then like later I'll be like, oh my God, what am I doing? This is terrible. So I wrote the book, didn't know what I was doing, had to rewrite it. Luckily, because of that earlier experience in Pitch Wars, I had writer friends who wrote in the genre who I was like, can you just like read this and tell me if I need to give up or not? And they were like, no, you're heading in the right direction. And one of those was actually Lane Fargo, who wrote They Never Learn, which is a serial killer book. But at the time, that book hadn't come out yet. She had her debut, Temper, which is about like theater kids behaving badly. And Lane is amazing. She's so good. She has The Favorites coming out this year and Rich Young Widows, and just like I'll like if she writes it, I'll read it, right? And she was like, no, keep going, keep going. Okay, cool. I'm like, if Lane says keep going, I'm gonna keep going. And I love working on query letters. I know that's insane. Nobody likes working on query letters, but I do. And I like querying because I like the possibility of something happening in the beginning. By the end, it's like really just it's a slog, right? Um, I get some full requests, I get some feedback, I keep going. Um, I think you have to be a little bit delusional when you query because if not, it's basically like asking for rejection. So you have to be in the headspace to where it's like they're wrong. I'm gonna keep going. I queried forever. Finally, I got a lot of. I tweaked my query as I went. Got full requests. Got a request for a phone call with my agent now, Ann Rose. I did not know what to expect, and she told me, like she's like, "Look, we're just gonna talk. I don't want to like. I know how it is. I don't want to like lead you on to something like this is just a conversation." I said, "Okay, cool." And at this point, like the pandemic had just started. And I was like, well, I don't have anything else to do. like so, uh, we talk, and she's like, "Look, I really like what you're doing here, but something's off. I think it's your pacing. Do you mind like you know, going in and maybe rewriting 50 pages and just seeing if you can fix it to see if you can do the work?" Which I do now realize that she just wanted to make sure probably that I wasn't too precious about it, that I was willing to like put in some work, which I can really respect. I was like, yeah, sure, that's great. I did it. We had another phone call. I signed with her, and like again, like a sweet summer child. I was like, this is it. I've made it. Like, look out, publishing. And we got it ready. I did a lot more edits. My agent is very editorial, so we went back through it, made sure it was as good as it could be, and we went on sub. And we got a lot of requests, like a lot of people read the full right away. And I started hearing pretty frequently, I don't have the spoons to work on a dark book right now. I really like this, but I don't have the energy to work on a dark book right now. Oh, I should tell you one more thing. When I was querying agents, it was funny because I was still getting responses back from the book that I had set aside. Um, and sorry, ADD. This is going to be very tangent. Just to let you know. But this is so people that are maybe are querying don't give up. Like, it's bananas. It doesn't make sense. I queried my agent, signed with my agent. The like we were on sub, and I hear back from an agent I had queried with a different manuscript years before, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to have a phone call?" And I'm like, 3 years ago, maybe I want to have a phone
Right?
call. I'm like, no, but I was like very nice, like, oh, I'm glad you liked it, but this is where I am now. Um, and I know they're like super busy, and I know like I'm just being snarky and funny. Like this whole industry, I think a lot of times people are just doing the best they can. So I go on sub. I'm slowly starting to kind of like lose faith in this, and I'm thinking, well, maybe this isn't the one. Maybe I should write something else. In the meantime, I'm like homeschooling my kids. I don't have a job anymore, like a day job. It's gone because it's the pandemic. My husband's working from home, and I'm just like, okay, something's got to come through. This is all I got right now. And I decided to write like a middle grade book. I don't know why. Shout out to middle grade authors because that shit is hard. Like writing for children.
Yeah.
I wrote like the most god awful middle grade book. I sent it to my agent. I was like, I think this is kind of rough, but I want to see what you think. And her email back was like, pour a glass of wine before you read this email.
Oh, no.
And she's like, I like your idea, but I really think you're an adult writer. Like the story's good, but this doesn't feel like it's written for kids. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So that will never see the light of day. Because I immediately agreed with her. I just felt like it was something I had to do to get it out of my system. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? I get an R&R from like this amazing publishing house who I thought at the time was like my dream house. And one of the things was they really liked it, but can you get rid of the romance? It takes away from like the friendship. It takes away from the plot. And I'm like, cool, I got you. I can do that. Rewrote it to pretty much the version it is now. But that's when there was a lot of turnover in publishing. There's always like a ton of turnover in
Yeah,
publishing.
it is a
And so by
very it's somehow a very slow and a very fast moving industry all at the same time.
Totally. By the time we sent it back, which was just like a month or two later, like the editor no longer worked there. The second read no longer worked there. So somebody else took it. And at that point, I was just like so deflated. I was like, I just rewrote this book. Like, what are we going to do? Like, nobody wants it. It's done. Let me start thinking of other ideas. And my agent was like, you know what? It's a different enough. I'm going to go and maybe nudge some editors that we got close with and just let them know, see if they'd be interested. And by now, things had eased up and we're turning around. Like people were getting out of the're house. We're back. I mean, nothing will ever be back to exactly how it was, but things were more back to normal. Um, you know, so maybe I was hoping like the people that didn't have the spoons to work on a dark book were feeling a little more up for it. But I still just try to like assume that it was done. Because isn't that the weird thing about writing a book and publishing is like you have to be hard headed enough to not like quit, but you also have to like realize that it might not happen. So
Yeah.
you have to like both of those things have to like exist in your head at the same time.
You have to be delusional and
Yes,
realistic all at the same time.
exactly. You
And,
have to.
the whole kill your darlings, you have to be ready to kill your darlings while also believing that you are the best writer to ever come up with an idea in your life. It's a tough industry, especially, just all the different hats you have to wear and the different mental spheres you have to put yourself. I'm the best writer in the world, but also I'm going to get a bunch of rejections. And then also someone's going to take my book and just completely cut it to shreds.
Right,
And I have to be okay with that. And then, finally, hopefully, fingers and toes crossed, can have something to put out. And then the process behind all of that, even once you do get a yes after submission, then there's that whole process with more edits and all of the work it takes to actually get published.
Totally. It's like you you have to believe everything you do is like the best ever, but also be willing to accept that you might have to rip it apart and turn it into something else. And like I will say, the sooner you can get to a place of realizing that, and this isn't true for everyone, like at all, but for me, that it's not precious, that it's a story. And as long as I can tell the story that I want to tell and keep the story I want to tell, I may have to tell it a little bit differently. The sooner I could get there and just accept it, I think the better off I was, and I think the better off other people are. Yeah, if you're trying to tell a specific story for a reason, and you have like boundaries, like these are things that are not negotiable for me, but then like everything else, just be open. And a lot of times people give you feedback. Their feedback on what to do isn't necessarily correct, but you can kind of figure out on why they feel that way, and you can find another way to kind of fulfill that. Um, so anyway, I was done with this book. My like I said, my best friend EJ Winstrom, science fiction and fantasy author. She was like, "Hey, I'm going to be in New Orleans. Do you want to meet me? Because I'm in Louisiana and she's in DC. Do you want to meet me for like brunch?" And I was like, "Yeah, awesome." So I drove down. We had brunch, and then afterwards, me and my spouse were like walking around the French Quarter, and I get a text from my agent, and she was like, "I have an idea, kind of like, what if we changed the beginning of the book?" And at this point, I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm so done with this book." But at the same time, I have to just tell you, I have to brag on my agent because she is like a shark and a bulldog and like a best friend. She went above and beyond for this book, more so than I think any other agent would have at this point. Because I think she recognized like the weirdness that is like signing with an agent and going on sub during a global pandemic. And she was like, "Can I call you and we can chat about it?" And I was like, "Sure." And then my phone went dead. And I was in New
Oh my
Orleans and
goodness.
I was talking to answer. And I was like, "Oh no."
Perfect
So,
timing. Just perfect timing. Really great.
right? Like I didn't even think to look and tell her. So I'm like, get my spouse's phone and I like find her on Instagram. And I'm like, "This is so creepy." I'm like, "And this is Emma." Like, "This is my husband's account. My phone died. I'll call you when I get home." Like, hoping she sees it. Um, she's not getting just some random DM from some random man, but she got it. I called her when we got back, and she was like, "What if?" Because in the original version, we basically just moved some chapters around. In the original version, you met Cordelia in her kill room before you met her as like just a person. And she was like, "I think maybe some people are having a hard time wrapping their heads around that. So what if we just change this up a little bit? You just cut and paste and change a few things around." I was like, "All right, Anne, I'll do it for you." But in my head, this is just like a Hail Mary. I don't expect anything to come of it, like at all. But I make this change, and I kid you not, I had a conversation with an editor. I mean, it was like 2 weeks later. Like I made that change, and that was the change that got me my book deal. And then once I got that offer, another person, another editor at another house who'd had the book for a while, they suddenly wanted a phone call. I talked to them and I was like, "Okay, this is insane. This book has been out here for a minute and nobody wanted it. And now I have these two publishers who are both interested." Um, I did end up, signing with MJ at Poison Pen Source Books because she just got it. Like the other editor was great too. She was lovely, but MJ, some of the things she said, she like repeated like her favorite lines and they were like also mine. And I was like, "She gets this book." And from there, it's just kind of been a whirlwind. It's been really fast because Source Books isn't one of like, they are not a small press by no means. They're a larger press, but they're also not one of like the big, is it big four or big five
Big
now? I don't know.
five. Yeah.
It keeps cannibalizing itself. So I think they're able to move a little bit faster, maybe, because it has just been full speed ahead and they have like truly, I've had the best experience. But it was a long journey to get here. I mean, to writing this book, to getting a literary agent, and all of that. People always want advice. And I'm not one to give writing advice, and I'm not one to give like publishing advice because it's wackadoodle and makes no sense and it's always changing. But the one piece of advice I can give, and the thing that helped me and kept me sane, is if you can build your community and not just like somebody that reads for you every once in a while, but like really try to cultivate friendships so that you have people to talk about how weird it is and to like gut check and to be like, this doesn't feel right. What do you think? Or am I crazy for thinking this? Or to just celebrate all the wins, because there's a lot of things that we count as wins that are so small, but you have to celebrate all the wins or you won't keep going. But then you try to tell people in like your everyday life and they're like, what are you talking about? But then also have people to commiserate with. Um, so that is really the one thing that probably kept me going. And that is the one piece of advice that I would give to new writers, because everybody's publishing journey is so different. And if you try to make it make sense, you'll go crazy.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, that is like the one consistent in writing and publishing is that there are no two exact same
Oh,
journeys. Everyone's journey is going to look different. Everyone's highs and lows are going to be different. Everyone's successes and failures are going to look different. And that's really the only consistency in writing, is that everyone is different.
that is so true. So true. It's so different. And publishing is always changing. The landscape is always changing. I completely agree. Like everything is different. The way it happens is different. I will say, I think that the people, I mean, like some people are like, it's like lightning in a bottle. They do, they write a book at 20 years old and they get a book deal and it blows up. And that's amazing. Like people like to like kind of
Oh, yeah.
talk bad about that, but that's awesome for them. I love that for them. But for most people, the ones that get a book deal and they're the people that keep going, that are able to keep going. There is privilege in that. I totally recognize that. But keep going, but also strive to like get better. You know what I mean? Like there are books that I've written that I'm so glad are not published. Like that would, I'm
That's a
just like,
sentiment I can understand.
okay, hidden.
I'm going to have us play a little game, and
Awesome.
we are going to describe book plots badly.
Okay, I need to warn listeners too. I had exquisite ones written down, but I can't find them. So I'm doing this off the cuff. So be nice. Be nice to me. All right, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll do one first. This is one that I know that you have read, so I hope that you
Okay.
can get this one. If your family are all awful people, just become a witch and live on an island with your pet lion.
Oh no, why am I so bad at this? It's the island that's throwing me. Wait. Wait, is this No. Is it Cersei?
Yeah,
Okay,
Cersei.
yay! Oh my god. I have
Cersei
such
by
a
Madeline Miller. I love that book.
I
It's
have such a
beautiful.
crush on Madeline Miller's brain. Like she's amazing.
Yes, she's incredible.
She's so good. Song of Achilles is one of my absolute favorites. Okay.
Madeline Miller, we love you. Come on the show.
This is not great. I'm just gonna tell you. But I'm gonna tell you, I like thought of it right now. So older sister steals chance at reality show fame from her younger sister, and she steps on hearts on her way to stardom.
I don't know,
I
but I
know
want
you've
to
read
read
it
it.
because everybody's read it.
Um, I'm not sure, but I want to read it. It sounds great.
Hunger Games.
Oh my god, I didn't even think of it that way. Hunger Games is literally one of my all-time favorite books. That is hilarious. I never thought of it that way.
My next one's not good, so I don't. That's all I got.
Well,
Hold on.
full disclosure, I am cheating and I am using Goodreads and Reddit to find my bad plots because every time I was thinking of something, I'm like, no, that sounds too good. Like, I want to read that. That sounds great. Okay, so my next one is a crippled teen and his friends try to make some money.
I have no idea. Um, is it YA?
Yes.
Okay. Try to make some money. I don't know. I have no clue.
Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo.
Oh, okay. I haven't read that one yet, but I'm familiar with it. I should have guessed it.
Oh, it's
Okay.
so good.
Mm, okay. I'm just making this one up as I go.
Okay.
This book is older. Depressed 20 something waitress grows tired of small town and decides to shake things up by dating a dead guy.
Oh, Charlene Harris, what's the first one
Yes!
called? Like Dead Before Dark or something like that. I don't
Yes!
remember which is the first one, but yes, the True Blood books.
It's a dead guy, huh? They gave it
Yeah, I mean,
away.
honestly, I was thinking as soon as you said waitress, and like, is she gonna say something about like supernatural?
I was
That
like,
was a good one.
yeah, I got to see Charlene at BoucherCon, and she's hilarious. There was a panel, and it was kick-ass female protagonists, and it was all these women authors who have been in the industry for like decades, and they just like bantered off of each other, and it was just amazing. She was very funny.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Honestly, that sounds really cool to go to.
It was. It was good.
All right, here is one that honestly I found on Reddit and it was just so hilarious to me. Bullying victim exploits bugs to rob a bank.
Wait a minute. Wait. Bullying victim exploits bugs. Why does this sound like Ant-Man? But I don't I I don't know. Those poor bugs. I'm so bad at this. Okay, you
So
have
what's
to give me
really funny is the first like comment on the thread for that one because this one came from Reddit was this is the Ant-Man sequel we really deserved.
right. Right? That's hilarious.
So the book
Do
is
you have another
called
hint?
Worm.
Oh, ugh, I haven't
Yeah.
read that. I have to tell you, that's my one. Like, I'm scared of worms. Like, it's a phobia. So
Oh
no
yeah.
wonder I haven't read that. Yeah. Well, yeah. Um, do you have another one?
Yeah, I have a whole bunch here. Let me try another good one.
I'm gonna think of one.
This one is kind of a classic one. Orphan girl is adopted and will not shut up. Good Lord, child, shut up.
Annie? I
Anne of
don't
Green
know.
Gables.
Annie Green Gables. Okay, yeah.
Like that one had me just cackling when I read that description.
That's hilarious. Oh man. I was Anne and she is me. Just I too never shut up. Give me another one.
All right. A closeted nerd runs into a wall and thinks he's a wizard.
Oh, that's Harry Potter, right?
Yep.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the funniest way to describe that book.
Oh man. I'm gonna try to think of one real fast. But if you have another one you want to read in the meantime,
All right.
this
This
is
one's
really
about
fun.
another classic one that a lot of
Okay.
people read in like AP English. Crazy
Okay.
people fall in love and forget how to be normal.
Uh, I don't know. I feel like that's half the books I read.
Yeah, seriously. Honestly, like that right there should just be a whole genre, to be honest.
Right? I mean,
But it
I
is
think,
Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte.
oh my God. So I gotta tell you, Wuthering Heights is my favorite book. Um, I wouldn't know if I would call that love or just obsession.
Yeah.
Uh, oh my God. I feel like I could do 10 of these just for Wuthering Heights. Like I have a whole like hold on. Do you see like this whole shelf?
Yeah.
That's all Wuthering Heights.
Oh my goodness. That's great.
or or like Wuthering Heights adjacent. Like I was talking about Lane Fargo earlier. Her new book, The Favorites, is a reimagining of Wuthering Heights, except modern day. I want to say like ice skaters, like ice capades. I
Okay.
also have another one that is a reimagining by Tasha Suri, and it's called What Souls Are Made Of. So, like, yeah, I'm a
You know what? I've seen that book before and I didn't even realize it was a Wuthering Heights retelling.
yeah. I actually, it's got a gorgeous cover, and it's on my shelf right now. I haven't read it yet because I own way more books than I actually read, but I do want to read it really badly. But I had to get it when I realized what it was and saw that pretty cover. So I'll let you know.
For sure. All right, here's another one that I thought was funny.
Okay.
Boring Stick in the Mud is forced to become a burglar for a team of hairy short dudes who want to steal a pretty shiny rock from a talking dragon.
Wait, say that one again.
So, Boring Stick in the Mud is forced
Wait,
to
is this a
become.
Hobbit?
Yes.
Okay. I love it because I feel like there's so many different ways you could do these for like any book.
Yeah. Let's see. There's a couple other good ones on here. Um Oh, this one is a book that is on my list, but I haven't read it yet, so I'm excited to find out if this is accurate. But the bad plot is girl almost falls to her death, but doesn't, and ends up thinking, why aren't I dead?
I give up.
It is
I give
for Red Queen.
yes, I had that's on my TBR. I
Yeah, it's on mine too.
Okay, I'm trying to think of one for my book. Um Type A know it all with a secret. Ugh, no, this is terrible. This is so hard. Oh, describe a book badly. Uh, Toxic bestie. Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing. This is so hard. My
It
brain
is
doesn't work
hard.
right.
Yeah, people are too creative for me.
I I'm telling you, I had a few, but I feel like that was it. That was all I had. Anytime you're condensing something down that way, it's
Oh my goodness, there's one. A girl takes a long time to die from blood loss.
okay, what is it?
Dracula.
Oh. Oh man. That could be grumpy old man spies on girl. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
so bad.
Indecisive high schooler must decide on a career or be homeless.
Uh,
Divergent.
oh, okay. Okay, yeah. It's been a minute, but I do
Yeah. Like, oh, I remember the good old YA dystopian future trend.
yeah, I was all about it.
A really
For
short
sh-
dude walks for several years to drop a ring in some lava.
so that's Lord of the Rings, right?
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, these are great. I love these. I love reading them, but I
Really
hate trying to
fun.
guess them.
I know. Well, hey, I like trying to guess them. I'm just extremely bad at it.
Yeah.
Or just start guessing the first book that pops in my head. That's what's really funny is if like some of them. So like your first one that was Cersei. The only reason I was like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in my head, and then I was like, wait, that's not an island. That's in a closet. like so,
Yeah, for that one, let's see, it could be um depressed children play make believe in a closet.
right. The ultimate game of hide and seek.
Yeah, ultimate hide and seek. Yeah, there you go.
Is it delusion? Did it really happen? We don't know.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
one.
I would think mine would be toxic best friend will do anything to keep bestie from dating guy or whatever, or to keep bestie for herself.
Yeah.
I'm like, should I be describing my book badly? It's out today. Go get your copy.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. It's awesome.
All right. Well, that is going to have us start wrapping up.
This was amazing and it was a lot of fun. I apologize for having lost my bad book descriptions. I did do the homework. I always do the homework, but I'm terrible at keeping up with it. Nothing's changed since I was a kid. And I think it's really great that you have your first draft of your book done. Keep
Thank
going.
you.
That's
Thank you.
keep going. It'll happen. And everyone listening, thank you so much. The support for This Girl's a Killer has been incredible. I'm so excited that people want to read my stabby bestie book. If you've ever read a serial killer book and be like, I wish this was a little funnier, then my book will be for you. If you like to laugh, if you have a dark sense of humor, like somebody called it a pitch black comedy. And I'm like, that, I feel like that works. And there's a dog, and the dog never dies in my books. So, yeah.
That's an important distinction to make. The
I
dog does
tell
not
people because it's
die.
a thriller. I'm like, the dog is a menace in my book. She's a poodle mix that, well, you'll just have to see. She comes to live with a serial killer. So, yeah. If you want to read about two best friends, one who's a serial killer that will do anything to keep her found family safe, even maybe things she shouldn't do. Spoilers, check it out. I think you'll like it.
Well, thank you again so much for joining us, and congratulations on your debut. I definitely have to recommend This Girl's a Killer to everyone who likes comedy, who likes horror, who likes thrillers, who likes besties, and who just really wants the dog to make it in the end.
Yeah, I want to say, like people always say, you'll love. My mom says it's amazing, you'll love it, but my mom's not allowed to read it, so you'll have to see for yourself.
That is great. Amazing. All
It's
right. Well,
very
thank you
good.
again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate this. This was so fun.
Thank you everyone for listening. This has been Must Love Books. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon under @Must Love Books Podcast. Thank you and happy reading.